Well, hello everyone. Let's get into more of the devastating news coming out of Hawaii, Maui, and the aftermath following the Lahaina fires and the absolute devastation that has hit this region. The Maui emergency chief has resigned following criticisms of the wildfire response. The head of the Maui Emergency Management Agency resigned his post on Thursday in the wake of significant criticism for his agency's response to the Lahaina fire, which claimed the lives of at least 111 people, the deadliest U.S. wildfire in more than a century. Maui County officials said in a news release that MEMA Administrator Herman Andaya has resigned effective immediately due to health reasons. Given the gravity of the crisis we are facing, my team and I will be placing someone in this key position as quickly as possible, and I look forward to making that announcement soon, said the mayor. Now, it's important to note that he is resigning from his position on Thursday, August 17th, and just so happens that this effective immediately due to health reasons resignation is following this. Maui official defends his decision not to activate sirens amid wildfires, saying, "I do not regret it." Now, in the very last video that I posted talking about the fires in Lahaina and Maui, one of the biggest things that the residents were talking about was that they did not hear any sirens. So, because of the fact that so many fires have been going on in the area over the last several years, people were not doing anything because they've been kind of used to seeing the smoke and stuff like that, and they were waiting for instruction. They were waiting for something to tell them this is a more urgent matter requiring you to move and get out. And so many people in different videos have said there were no sirens. So people were waiting for sirens to become apparent. But the sole official in Maui, now how there's one person that's responsible for all of this is kind of baffling, but a sole official in Maui is tasked with deciding when to pull warning signs that sound out on Hawaii's second largest island during emergencies. In the case of blazing wildfires that leveled the historic town of Lahaina and left over 100 dead last week, that official chose to not sound the alarms, a decision he is now defending, saying, "I do not regret not sounding the sirens." Pretty incredible for an official to not even say, based on the information that we had, this is what we thought would be the best thing, but obviously it wasn't. Just an absolute comment of, "I do not regret not sounding the alarms." And he said, "The public is trained to seek higher ground in the event that sirens are sounded," adding that sirens are primarily used to warn of tsunamis, which is why almost all of them are found on the coastline. "Had we sounded the alarms that night, we were afraid that people would have gone mountainside. Sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly. And if it was the case, they would have gone into the fire." I should also note that there are no sirens on Mauka or the mountainside where the fire was spreading down. So even if we had sounded the alarms, it would not have saved those people on the mountainside. And it continues saying, "There are 80 outdoor sirens on the island that sat silent as people fled for their lives. According to the state's government website, they can be used for a variety of natural and human-caused events, including wildfires." So there we go. It includes wildfires. And I saw in a video from 2-Bit Da Vinci, I will link the video down in the description box. He goes into a lot of the science aspect of the fire and what was going on that day, as well as a lot of the history of the land of Maui, Hawaii, and a lot of different things that I found really informational. So I highly recommend people check that video out. But one of the things that he talked about in that video is the amount of sirens that are on the island. There's, like it says here, there's over 80 outdoor sirens. And apparently the siren system that exists in Hawaii is like one of the most top-notch siren systems that one could have. And people are used to hearing those sirens. And the concerns now have been mounting over why they never went off, with many Maui residents saying more people could have been saved if they had time to escape with the sirens as warning. When you have a state-of-the-art alarm system that involves sirens and people can deduce with their eyes and senses and see that, oh, it's a fire and, oh, we need to be doing what we need to do to get out of here and get safe, people are going to likely know what they need to be doing. So when the Maui residents are saying themselves that they feel that both they were expecting the warning, as well as that had they been given the warning that more people could have been saved, kind of makes you wonder, is this why someone is saying that they need to resign from their job for health reasons? Because you just sound like an absolute piece of shit that did the wrong thing, doesn't want to admit that you did the wrong thing, and now that he's resigning, what is that going to do for any type of remedial measures for people? Is he going to be held account for his failure to act? Likely no. And that's the continual problem we see when so many of these convenient things happen, of someone that's making these decisions all of a sudden resigns so that they can't be held to account. It's just so ridiculous. Andaya said that the agency's internal protocol for wildfires is to use both wireless emergency text alerts sent to cell phones and the emergency alert system, which sends alerts to television and radio. Now, what do you do when those text alerts are not working because the cell towers went down? Think with your brains. The fact that the cell service was down means that you need to take every possible measure that you can possibly take, which means you need to turn on the goddamn sirens. And the fact that they didn't, it's adding to those questions of, do you really care about these people? Did you really want to save these people? Did you really want to save this area? Because there are so many bits of evidence showing that they did not. He continues, in a wildland fire incident, the siren system has not been used either in Maui or in other jurisdictions around the state. Immediately following the disaster, county officials said the siren would have saved lives and that the emergency response system could have been taken offline by wind. Hawaii Governor Josh Green told CBS News last week he has launched an investigation handled by the state attorney general into Maui County's emergency response before, during, and after the fire, including why the sirens did not go off. Well, I'm sure we can, look forward to a great investigation being done by the state attorney general. Just really looking forward to that. Well done, thorough investigation. In the wake of the emergency siren controversy, Andaya's qualifications have been called into question. Yeah, no shit. The fact that locals were expecting to hear sirens, I had in my previous video, people were saying there's no sirens. Where are the sirens? Why don't we hear the sirens? People were expecting to hear this if it was a serious emergency requiring them to evacuate. And then another thing to remember in my previous video on Lahaina is the fact that once people were evacuating, there was police officers that were restricting people from moving. They blocked the road. Why would you do that? Why? CBS News asked Andaya about his qualifications during Wednesday's news conference. According to local news site Maui Now, he had no background in disaster response before taking the position. The site reported in 2017 that he was hired over 40 other qualified applicants. That is really interesting. He had no background in disaster response before taking the position. And mind you, this position is the Emergency Management Agency Administrator. How can you have zero preparedness background when you work for the Emergency Management Agency as the administrator? Make it make sense, people. Make it make frickin' sense. He said, to say that I'm not qualified, I think, is incorrect. Well, you can think that, sir. One wrong man can always find a friend. I went through a very arduous process. I was vetted. I took a civil service exam. I was interviewed by seasoned emergency managers. I mean, just because you take a civil service exam doesn't mean you know what you're doing. Just because you were vetted doesn't mean that you know what you're doing. Because it's the people vetting you that are going to want you. They're going to want you to be just like them. And this is a whole other conversation when it comes to job qualifications, experience, and blind hiring and things like that. And people actually having the experience that they should have when they don't. This is absolutely incredible information. So it's not surprising that following this damning statement that he said of, I do not regret sounding the sirens, that he is now leaving for health reasons, effective immediately. It's so convenient, isn't it? It's so freaking convenient. Shame on you, Herman and Andaya. You have a lot to answer for, as well as every other person that's an official on Hawaii Island. Absolutely devastating. To add even more insult to absolute injury, the Hawaii governor says that the state is looking to acquire land destroyed in the fires. Hawaii Governor Josh Green and his administration are looking to acquire land in Lahaina that saw destruction by the recent wildfires in the region. This is according to an announcement by the governor on Monday, where he said that the state is looking to purchase land destroyed in Maui wildfires. Speaking outside some of the debris of the fires, Governor Green says, "I'm already thinking of ways for the state to acquire that land so that we can put it into workforce housing, to put it back into families, or make it open spaces in perpetuity as a memorial." As we've seen, the 15-minute city seems to be the most logical reason as to why they would be wanting to do this. We want this to be something we remember after the pain passes as a magic place. Lahaina will rebuild. The tragedy right now is the loss of life. The buildings can be rebuilt over time. Even the banyan tree may survive. But we don't want this to become a clear space where the people from overseas just come and decide they're going to take it. The state will take it and preserve it first. Now, I mean, since when has the state taking your land done much good for people? They did that to the Indians. That didn't go so well. And this is part of the reason of why the citizens and residents of Hawaii have been so reluctant to just do whatever the United States says, because the United States basically acquired Hawaii against their consent. It's so much bullshit. The locals and natives of Hawaii have every right to be extremely skeptical of our government right now, because this is moving in such quick lockstep speed that you just, like I said in my last video, you kind of can't help but go into those alternative theories because it just seems so freaking convenient. In a separate press conference, Green reiterates his commitment to making sure the land is safe for residents to keep. He says that he spoke with the Hawaiian Attorney General regarding options to do a moratorium on any sales or properties that did not survive the destruction. Well, then explain to me, Governor Green, how is it that realtors and developers are already reaching out to locals? How is that possible then? It's going to be a very long time before any growth or housing can be rebuilt. So you will be pretty poorly informed if you try to steal land from our people and then build here, he said. I will try, keywords, to allow no one from outside our state to buy any land until we get through this crisis and decide what Lahaina should be in the future. I mean, this is just my feeling, but that should be totally up to the people of Lahaina, the people of Maui, the people of Hawaii. Screw this governor and screw the freaking government wanting to take their land, because it's so obvious that that's what they're trying to do. This is absolutely ridiculous. The death toll is still climbing. The remains are still being found. We don't even know exactly how all of this happened, and the fact that that acquiring land is already being discussed, it really does go to show why so many people are so skeptical of this. And there's something else that I wanted to kind of go into, because I wasn't able to go into it in my first video as much as I wanted to. One of the biggest issues that happened on that day was the lack of water. Not just for the locals, mind you. This was for the firefighters. Firefighters ran out of water. And the Honolulu Civil Beat is talking about how a state official refused to release water for West Maui fires until it was too late. With wildfires ravaging West Maui on August 8th, a state water official delayed the release of water that landowners wanted to help protect their property from fires. The water standoff played out over much of the day, and the water didn't come until too late. The dispute involved the Department of Land and Natural Resources, Water Resource Management Division, and West Maui Land Co., which manages agricultural and residential divisions in West Maui. DLNR delayed releasing water requested by West Maui Land Co. to help prevent the spread of fire, sources familiar with the situation said. Specifically, according to accounts of 4 people with knowledge of the situation, Mr. Kaleo Manuel, sorry if I'm saying that incorrectly, a native Hawaiian cultural practitioner and DLNR's deputy director for water resource management, initially balked at West Maui Land Co.'s requests for additional water to help prevent the fire from spreading to properties managed by the company. So even the frickin' company is saying, we would like to have additional water so that we can help with this. Because when you do not put out a fire in as many places as you possibly can, when you don't have water, you can't do shit. It's just allowing the fire to spread. The fact that he balked at this is just, the situation is mounting when it comes to every level of epic failure at every level of administration on this. It is absolutely horrendous. According to the sources, Manuel wanted West Maui land to get permission from a taro or kalo farm located downstream from the company's property. Manuel eventually released water, but not until after the fire had spread. It was not clear on Monday how much damage the fire did in the interim or whether homes were damaged. He declined to be interviewed for this story. DLNR's communication office said in an email that it was supporting the state's emergency communications response and unable to facilitate your inquiry at this time. How freaking convenient. I see this in so many different things where it's just no comment. Oh, we're not going to respond to comment. And it's just, you guys are being paid by the taxpayers. So many of these jobs are federal and government agencies that are being paid for by US taxpayers. You guys don't get to say no comment. You guys don't get to say no response, but here we are. And of course, the governor said that conflicts over water are being reshaped in an age of climate change and wildfires, and now the conflict includes opponents who do not want water to be used to fight fires. Who says this? Who says that you do not want water to be used to fight fires? That is antithetical to how you fight a fire. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. One thing that people need to understand, especially from those from far away, is that there's been a great deal of water conflict on Maui for many years. It's important that we're honest about this. People have been fighting against the release of water to fight fires. I'll leave that to you to explore. I can't, you guys. I just can't. This is absolutely insane. We have a difficult time on Maui and other rural areas getting enough water for houses, for our people, for any response. But it's important we start being honest. I would love for you guys to start being honest, but we'll see if that ever frickin' happens. There are currently people still fighting in our state, giving us water access to fight and prepare for fires, even as more storms arise. I can't. This is just so epically horrendous in so many ways. And it gets worse. So Governor Green, who's loving giving all this lip service, saying that, he cares about the people, that, he wants to think of ways for them to put the workforce into housing, give it back to the families, or make it an open spaces in perpetuity as a memorial. Well, lo and behold, that same frickin' governor is evicting residents from their homes that were not affected by the fires. We're going to take a look at this video and spend a little time seeing what the hell is going on.
So the houses that did survive, have you heard that the mayor is now forcing them to leave the homes that were not burnt down? Here's the proof.
This Lahaina shit is insane. I have a friend who lost his home. He lost everything, but this isn't for him. This is somebody else by him. They didn't lose their home, but they're about to because the mayor is evicting the entire fucking building. Some of the only people that still had homes, and they're evicting them. They have 45 days. Pause to read why. This is from the fucking mayor. Read it. Chances are this landlord got paid off very well, and they have till September 31st to evacuate and vacate their homes and just get the fuck out, basically. They're welcome, it says, to leave before then. So these are the last people on this island in this little area that have a home still, and they're kicking them out of it. I hope this is the straw that breaks the camel's back for this whole fucking country. I know we all see what's going on. I know what we're talking about, what this is. We all see it. We all see it. This is just proof. I'm fucking...
So what it says is that they're going to make it a command center, the apartment that survived. This particular one. So the people that pay their taxes, don't worry about having a home. The government needs your home. So go ahead, prop up a tent. You can be homeless as long as the chief is doing good and the mayor. Nobody really gives a shit about the people. Is that how this is really supposed to work? Is government telling the people to get the fuck out of their homes? Is this what really everything's come to and nobody's going to do anything? The town burnt down under very mysterious circumstances. You got the water turned off. You got police blocking the roads where all the cars were burnt, which is very suspicious. You got no sirens. You got the guy responsible for the no sirens saying he's clearly proud that he didn't siren because then what? Then people would know there's a fire. You got melted metal, which doesn't happen in forest fires. And next to melted metal, you got standing umbrellas. You have the blockade of the supplies, you have the executive orders, and you have the governor, no joke, The governor is a keynote speaker for Agenda 2030. 100% wants to put out a mandate to make Hawaii 100% all electric, smart city in Maui. They don't hide it. He literally says he's pushing Agenda 2030. Right here, you want to see? There's the governor already trying to acquire the land. Seems like they're doing it, right?
So this is a great video. I highly recommend if you want to watch the whole thing, please go do so. And it's just these revelations just keep coming out, and it's absolutely stunning. It's one of those things where it's like we think each new bit of evidence is surprising, and that's not even the half of it. So this is absolutely incredible, and I really do hope that, I really, really do hope that we can get some good lawyers over there for the people of Maui. People that are not going to shill for the system, people that are not going to act like this isn't exactly what it looks like it is, which is an absolute land grab, an absolute shilling by government administrators, personnel, and just an absolute failure in so many ways. Absolutely horrifying. Again, my thoughts go out to every single person that's being affected by this travesty. Check out the links in the description box below for where you can donate to the Hawaiian Community Foundation that's giving directly to the people. And as I mentioned in my last video on Maui, if you are planning a trip there, please consider canceling your trip and using some of that money to donate to the people of Hawaii, as they are going to need as much support as they can possibly get, especially as we're seeing that our government does not give a shit. So thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and share with anyone that you think might find this information helpful. And as always, stay safe, take care, and be kind to each other.